When you receive your mini continuous flow, the first thing you need to do is get the bedding material in there, in the worms. So we're going to remove the lid. And if you notice, there's a grid in here right now. If we just took the bedding material and the worms and dumped it in here, it would fall right through. So what we want to do is put a barrier there. We're just going to use some paper, some regular newspaper, and we're going to set it in here underneath the cable so that it covers up the grid. Okay. Now that we got the newspaper in, I put this little piece of cardboard there just to block this slot here so some of the excess dirt doesn't go out of there in the bedding material and the worms. So take your bedding material and worms. Usually it'll come separately unless we're delivering the package, but normally we will UPS them or priority mail. Most of the time priority mail them. And just take that and start putting that on top of the newspaper there so it doesn't fall through the cracks. We got most of the bedding and the worms in here. We want to run the scraper bar down so as if you're harvesting it. And look at, you can tell where the scraper bar is. Watch the bedding. And then we come back the other direction. So after we've got all the bedding and the worms in here, we're going to put the lid back on, and you'll probably want to feed them. So if you notice on your all-in-one, the continuous flow all-in-one, we have a food processor here. So we can take the material, the food waste that you want to feed to the worms, put it through here, and then feed it to the worms, which will put it in a lot smaller particle size. So first thing we're going to do is plug this guy in. So it's got a 110 plug. Go into any extension cord or outlet, and that will give us power for the whole all-in-one. Now notice up here we've got the winch plugged in, which we used a little bit earlier. We got the pump plugged in because what we have is a 10-gallon reservoir down here that circulates water up to the disposal so that it can process the food. We capture the water back down there and just keep recycling it. So we got that plugged in here, and all that's been wired on your all-in-one. So what we're going to want to do is fill up this reservoir with probably about half to 3/4 of the way full. That way you'll have plenty of water going through here as you're processing the food. So let's start putting some water in here. Now that we have this about 3/4 of the way full with water, we can get the trays that came along with it. We gave you 2 trays along with the continuous flow system and this white mesh. Basically take one tray, put the white mesh inside of it, and this is going to filter the particles from going down with the water. And then put the other tray right inside of it like that. And then put it right underneath the disposal. And voila, it's ready to start processing. Now, first thing we're going to have to do is take the lid off of the disposal and make sure that you're getting water going through it. So this switch up on the top, the white switch, is for the water, so you just turn that on. And now you got water running through. So this is water circulating from the tank below, up through the garbage disposal, down through the disposal, into the tray, filtering right back down into the reservoir tank below. So we have that going. It operates just like any normal garbage disposal would. What we've done is put together a little plunger, which you can build at any you can get the components from any of your hardware stores. Just a 4-way 3/4 inch PVC pipe, and then we just took some 3/4 inch pipe and put it in here. So that way we can kind of push the stuff down there. You know, some people have a little reservation about their fingers in a garbage disposal. So we just put together one of these little things. It works pretty good. So What we're going to do is get some food waste, bring it over here, and then start processing. Now we've got some food to put in here. Now, see, if you fed this to the worms by itself, it would take them a while to work their way through it. But watch what the particle size looks like after we put it to the garbage disposal. So we're going to turn the bottom switch down here, and that turns to the disposal itself on. And then we just feed this stuff through. Potatoes like this, you wouldn't want to put in there, but they're fine in here. Got peppers, lettuce, whatever your food waste is, stick it in here. Use a little plunger. So after you're done with all your food waste going through the disposal or the processor, come over here and shut the disposal motor off. And then what you want to do is the water is still circulating. So this is a feature that we built in so you can have the water circulating without having the motor going too. So if by chance it heats up and throws this little circuit breaker underneath, it's like any other garbage disposal, just shut it off. Reset the circuit breaker, and the water going through will help cool down the disposal itself. So we got the water still going, so we've shut the processor off. We're going to shut the water off, and then down below you're going to see that the water's still trickling through, the rest of it through the system. And what I would recommend is letting this, because look at the consistency of this material now. It's just small bite size for the worms. So what I would suggest, just letting it sit for a while and let all the excess moisture just flow down into the reservoir tank below. Then afterwards, we can take this tray and put it into the worm bin. Now we've waited a little while, we can pull their dinner out. Just pull it out here, take the lid off the top of the bin. Just set this right on top of here for right now as we're taking it out and feeding the worms. Just sprinkle it across the top of the worm bin there. Now we've shown you how to put the worms in the bedding material in. We've shown you how to process their food, and we showed you how to feed them. Now what we're going to do is harvest the castings coming off of the bin. So basically we've made this lid so it goes both ways. You just turn it upside down and you place it underneath. And then we've got these 3 trays that we put here, so that way it doesn't get too heavy and bulky to carry all of it at once, just depending on how much you're looking to harvest. So now this is the remote control that controls the breaker bar across the bottom of your worm bin. So you push the button one way, and it takes the breaker one way, and then stop at the end, and push it the other way, and it brings it back. Now be careful when you start getting to the ends, so you don't pull that breaker bar through your worm bin itself. Already to the end of there, so we're going to come forward with it, and let's watch their black gold fall into our pan. And then go back the other way. And then come back one more time. And that's as easy as it is. You don't get worm farming any easier than this.